Good afternoon and welcome back. And hello to all my new subscribers. Welcome aboard. This journal was made after I completed watching all of the Carpetbagger compendium videos by Nick the Booksmith. This book I'm entitling Clara Barton. I seem to be stuck in the 1800s, and as I was reading about Nellie Bly and all of the things about women's suffrage, I came across Clara Barton and started remembering some of the history I had learned long ago. She was the American Florence Nightingale. They called her the angel of the battlefield during the Civil War. And then she went on to start the Red Cross in America. And so she's a pretty important figure during the late 1800s. This Carpetbagger style has stitching on the spine. It's fabric covered, hardback book, and this one has 5 signatures. On the inside I had put some muslin that I hand dyed just using my inks, and a couple of pockets. I have some items in this book that talk about talk about Carol and all of the neat things that she did during the Civil War. But if one wanted to make this very same journal and just eliminate a few items that have to do with Clara Barton, you could just have it be a heritage or vintage journal. This is a photograph pocket, has some mylar to protect the photo, and that's a photo of Clara Barton. This paper is from On a Whimsical Adventure. This is graphics fairy paper. This is some paper like I used in the Alice in Wonderland. It's just a parchment paper I got at Staples. This is some tea coffee stain printed paper that I got on Amazon, and then I just did some stenciling on it. There are quotes throughout the book from Clara Barton. Very interesting character. She started out working at the U.S. Patent Office and was the first woman to do so. Took a lot of flack. They actually sort of demoted her and then fired her because of her political views. She was also a teacher. She got her teaching certificate when she was only 17. Set up a school in New Jersey for people of all creeds, and it became so successful that there was money raised for it by the state, and then they ended up replacing her with a man because she couldn't possibly run the school, according to them. So she had a very interesting life. This is blueberry stained tracing paper, some more of that Amazon paper that I stenciled, Graphics Fairy. It's called Parchment. Vintage parchment paper, I believe. But this is really a writing journal. It's not overly embellished because I thought that whoever I gave this to might want to go through and add a lot of their own items. And so I tried to restrain myself a bit. There is some Tim Holtz paper in here, and then following along with Nick the Booksmith, adding sewn-in pieces and fabrics, ribbons, seam binding, are some things that I push myself to try. This is a little bag, and it will stretch open because I only glued it up this high. This is a scene from Civil War battlefield that it was in the Clara Barton Museum collection. Some more of Tim Holtz. It's the Memorandum pack that I used. After the war, Clara Barton realized that there were tens of thousands of letters being unanswered by the government because they didn't know what had happened to the soldiers. So many were buried in unmarked graves and things like that. So she started the Missing Soldiers Office, got some funding for it, and got the permission of the government. She answered 42 or 43,000 letters. She actually found what happened to over 20,000 soldiers initially. Then she went down to the Andersonville camp where the Confederacy had housed all their prisoner of war people, and she was able to mark and bury 13,000 soldiers that she identified there. This is just an envelope in the center. This is more of the graphics fairy items. Once again, following along with Nick the Booksmith and sewing in a side pocket and adding some trims and things to it. Another little pocket, more of the Holtz Memorandum paper. And the little bulb pins with various charms on them having to do with strength and courage. This is what a field hospital would have looked like. There is a National Museum of Civil War Medicine now, and they've collected a lot of these items. You can also go on libraryofcongress.gov and find a whole bunch of things that were rescued from Clara Barton's home after she died that had to do with her Missing Soldiers project, as well as diaries and things like that they have copies of. It's pretty interesting reading. Another envelope in the center of this signature. More of the, this is a Holtz stencil that I used here. Another side pocket with trim and a little bag just tucked in there. A little bag with a tag. But if you watch Nick the Booksmith, you'll see that I used a lot of her ideas of decorating the pages for carpetbaggers in this. The Clara Barton Chapel. A large pocket. This one also has a picture of Clara Barton. I have some information that I may put on the back that's basically a short bio of all the things that she did, all the people that she was in contact with across the country. She actually met up with Susan Anthony and Frederick Douglass and became a women's suffrage and civil rights speaker. So she was pretty active politically and on the lecture circuit. After she formed the Red Cross, she took nurses in all sorts of places. She was in Cuba. She took care of a lot of natural disasters, floods, problems in Texas with famine. And her last thing that she did with the American Red Cross before they replaced her was that she went to help in the aftermath of the great hurricane of 1900 that devastated Galveston Island. And she even went back and researched and found some crop items that she could send to the farmers that would get them a quick cash crop and help them get back on their feet. So she didn't just go and help out at the time, she actually kept on helping. This is an envelope, but this is also a pocket here. This is a Seven Gypsies journal card. This is an upper tuck spot. Another big pocket. The nurses and the Red Cross volunteers had to make their own uniforms, and this is actually a butterick pattern for making the official uniform. And that's a picture of the flood in Galveston, the last thing that she did. And that's the end of the book in the back. And I hope you enjoyed this little history lesson. I'm going to get off on some other issues now and try to get away a little bit from giving you a history lesson every time you watch one of my videos. But I hope you have a great 4th of July, and I will see you again soon.